I'm Josh, I'm a qualified actuary and an investment researcher, and I've spent the first few years of my career flying around the world meeting the best hedge fund managers that are out there. Hong Kong, New York, Boston, Santiago, Singapore, Shanghai. On paper, I was killing it. Smart, disciplined, successful, modest. But inside, I was falling apart. I had no direction. I was rushing around just following one thing to the next, and I didn't know what I was doing. And I thought, maybe I'm just not trying hard enough. But I now realized that the problem wasn't effort, it was the systems I was running. You see, smart people often run a linear mental model, which is effort in equals reward out. And I think that's something that's drilled into people from the school system. So effort equals reward, and more effort equals more reward. And early on that works. You do enough revision at school, you typically get the grades you want. You ace the professional exams, you get the pay rise. You get the grad job, and you get the promotions, the money, and the trips abroad. I was there working across time zones, researching hedge funds around the world. New York, Hong Kong, Singapore, Boston, London. But inside, the cracks were forming. The system that had got me to that point couldn't carry me any further. I was running on fumes, and instead of pausing, I just pushed harder. So burnout isn't a motivation problem, it's a sustainability problem. And that's because your system is consuming more than it regenerates. You are a biological system, as am I, not a productivity machine. And a biological system breaks when you ignore its natural limits. So here's the reframe. High achievers optimize for effort, systems thinkers optimize for architecture. The upgrade isn't try harder, it's design better. So here's how systems thinking changed everything for me. I started thinking in feedback loops, so trying to understand what the impact of my actions were and the feedback that I was getting from that action. I started to think in terms of constraints and bottlenecks, so what's the main constraint holding me back from where I want to get to? What's the one thing that if I changed would unleash progress? I also started looking for reinforcing feedback loops, so where does momentum naturally build in the direction of travel to help me get towards my goal faster? And I also started to look for sustainability. So how can the system that I'm running go on for the long run so I can compound as much as possible? So I had to unlearn the myth of solo effort, and I had to embrace the power of leverage. As Naval Ravikant puts it, there are 4 main types of leverage. 1, labor. 2, capital. 3, code. And 4, media. So labor is getting other people to do things for you. Capital is making your money work for you. Code is about building computer systems that scale. And media is about building content that spreads. Most high performers like me rely on the one form of leverage that doesn't scale, their own time. But real transformation happens when you shift from effort to asymmetry, force to feedback, and control to compounding. That's where the network effects are. And the second point I wanted to talk about was biological alignment, and that has a compounding effect as well. So I think we're brought up to think in terms of machines and just having a linear output. So to give you an example of this, I used to think that I was just going to run 5K every day. But once I realized I was a biological system with a kind of natural cycle and a natural ebb and flow to my life and to my days, to my well-being, I started to lean into this natural cycle more rather than fight it. That allowed me to stop fighting my own body. So you recognize that you actually have to sleep and rest and recover, and by allowing yourself to do that and leaning into that and trying to rest and recover as best possible, it actually allows you to fit more naturally with your natural cycle and perform better when you are actually in your performance zone. So here's what I changed. I stopped chasing motivation and started engineering momentum. I aligned with my body, fasting, circadian rhythms, and deep work blocks. I built leverage, so content, outsourcing, delegation, automation. And I tracked feedback on my own body using HRV, sleep stats, and step counts. I often looked for the bottleneck that I was ignoring, the loop I needed to reinforce, the outgrade that didn't require more grind, but better design. So here's the takeaway. You don't burn out because you're weak. You burn out because your system isn't sustainable. You're not broken, you're just running an outdated system. Smart people burn out because they trust effort more than they trust systems. But when you start designing for resilience, feedback, and compounding over the long term, you start breaking down, you start building up, and you find that you have more time for the things you actually want to do. So if you're ambitious, exhausted, and still not where you want to be, why don't you check out this video here from me, and we can learn how to do this together.